everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I'll be reading a couple of selections from the wonderful book, Awareness by Anthony De Mello, The Perils and Opportunities of Reality. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you like the readings today, please like and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. Thank you guys, and let's begin. Today I'm going to begin by reading chapter 31, titled Losing the Rat Race. Let's begin. Losing the rat race. Let's get back to the marvelous sentence in the gospel about losing oneself in order to find oneself. One finds it in most religious literature and in all religious and spiritual and mystical literature. How does one lose oneself? Did you ever try to lose something? That's right. The harder you try, the harder it gets. It's when you're not trying that you lose things. You lose something when you're not aware. Well, how does one die to oneself? We're talking about death now. We're not talking about suicide. We're not talking to kill the self, but to die. Causing pain to the self, causing suffering to the self would be self-defeating. It would be counterproductive. You're never so full of yourself as when you're in pain. You're never so centered on yourself as when you're depressed. You're never ready to forget yourself as when you are happy. Happiness releases you from self. It is suffering and pain and misery and depression that tie you to the self. Look how conscious you are of your tooth when you have a toothache. When you don't have a toothache, you're not even aware you have a teeth, or that you have a head, for that matter. When you don't have a headache, but it's so different when you have a splitting headache. So it's quite false, quite erroneous to think that the way to deny the self is to cause pain to the self, to go in for abnegation, mortification, as these were traditionally understood. To deny the self, to die to it, to lose it, is to understand its true nature. When you do that, it will disappear. It will vanish. Suppose somebody walks into my room one day. I say, "Come right in. May I know who you are?" And he says, "I am Napoleon." I say, "Not the Napoleon." And he says, "Precisely, Bonaparte, Emperor of France." What do you know? I say, even while I'm thinking to myself, I better handle this guy with care. "Sit down, Your Majesty," I say. "Well, they tell me you're a pretty good spiritual director. I have a spiritual problem. I'm anxious, and I'm finding it hard to trust in God. I have my armies in Russia. See, I'm spending sleepless nights wondering how it's going to turn out." So I say, "Well, Your Majesty, I could certainly prescribe something for that. What I suggest that you read chapter 6 of Matthew. Consider the lilies of the field. They neither toil nor spin." By this point, I'm wondering who is crazier, this guy or me. But I go along with this lunatic. That's what the wise guru does with you in the beginning. He goes along with you. He takes your trouble seriously. He'll wipe a tear or two from your eye. You're crazy, but you don't know it yet. The time has come soon when he'll pull the rug out from under your feet and tell you, "Get off it, you're not Napoleon." In those famous dialogues of St. Catherine of Siena, God is reported to have said to her, "I am he who is. You are she who is not." Have you ever experienced your is-notness? In the East, we have an image for this. It is the image of the dancer and the dance. God is viewed as the dancer, and creation as God's dance. It isn't as if God is the big dancer and you are the little dancer. Oh no, you're not a dancer at all. You are being danced. Did you ever experience that? So when the man comes in to his senses and realizes that he is not Napoleon, he does not cease to be. He continues to be, but he suddenly realizes that he is something other than what he thought he was. To lose the self is to suddenly realize that you are something other than what you thought you were. You thought you were at the center. Now you experience yourself as a satellite. You thought you were the dancer. You now experience yourself as the dance. These are just analogies, images, so you cannot take them literally. They just give you a clue, a hint. They are only pointers, don't forget. So you cannot press them too much. Don't take them too literally. That's the end of chapter 31, entitled Losing the Rat Race. Let's begin chapter 32, entitled Permanent Worth. To move on to another idea, there is the whole matter of one's personal worth. Personal worth doesn't mean self-worth. Where do you get self-worth from? Do you get it from success in your work? Do you get it from having a lot of money? Do you get it from attracting a lot of men if you're a woman, or a lot of women if you're a man? How fragile all that is, how transitory. When we talk about self-worth, are we not talking really about how we are reflected in the mirrors of other people's minds? But how do we need to depend on that? One understands one's personal worth when one no longer identifies or defines oneself in terms of those transient things. I'm not beautiful because everyone says I'm beautiful. I'm really neither beautiful nor ugly. These are things that come and go. I could be suddenly transformed into a very ugly creature tomorrow, but it is still I. Then say I get plastic surgery and I become beautiful again. Does the I really become beautiful? You need to give a lot of time to reflect on these things. I've thrown them at you in rapid succession, but if you would take the time to understand what I have been saying, to dwell on it, you'll have a gold mine there. I know, because when I stumbled upon these things for the first time, what a treasure I discovered. Pleasant experiences make life delightful. Painful experiences lead to growth. Pleasant experiences make life delightful, but they don't lead to growth in themselves. What leads to growth is painful experiences. Suffering points up an area in you where you have not yet grown, where you need to grow and be transformed and change. If you knew how to use that suffering, oh, how you would grow. Let's limit ourselves for the time being to psychological suffering, to all those negative emotions we have. Don't waste your time on a single one of them. I've already told you what you could do with those emotions. The disappointment you experience when things don't turn out as you wanted them to, watch that. Look at what it says about you. I say this without condemnation, otherwise you're going to get caught up in self-hatred. Observe it as you would observe it in another person. Look at that disappointment, that depression you experience when you are criticized. What does it say about you? Have you heard about the fellow who said, "Who says that worry doesn't help? It certainly does help. Every time I worry about something, it doesn't happen." Well, it certainly helped him. Or the other fellow who says, "The neurotic is a person who worries about something that did not happen in the past. He's not like us normal people who worry about things that will not happen in the future." That's the issue. That worry, that anxiety. What does it say about you? Negative feelings. Every negative feeling is used for awareness, for understanding. They give you the opportunity to feel it, to watch it from the outside. In the beginning, the depression will still be there, but you will have cut your connection with it. Gradually, you will understand the depression. As you understand it, it will occur less frequently and will disappear altogether. Maybe, but by that time it won't matter too much. Before enlightenment, I used to be depressed. After enlightenment, I continue to be depressed. But gradually, or rapidly, or suddenly, you get the state of wakefulness. This is the state where you drop desires. But remember what I meant by desire and cravings. I meant unless I get what I desire, I refuse to be happy. I mean cases where happiness depends on the fulfillment of desire. That is chapter 22, entitled Permanent Worth. Let's begin chapter 33, entitled Desire, Not Preference. Do not suppress desire, because then you would become lifeless. You'd be without energy, and that would be terrible. Desire, in the healthy sense of the word, is energy, and the more energy we have, the better. But don't suppress desire. Understand it. Understand it. Don't seek to fulfill desire so much as to understand desire. Don't just renounce the objects of your desire. Understand them. See them in their true light. See them for what they really are worth. Because if you just suppress your desires and you attempt to renounce the object of your desire, you are likely to be tied to it. Whereas if you look at it and see it for what it really is worth, if you understand how you are preparing the grounds for misery and disappointments and depression, your desires will then be transformed into what I call a preference. When you go through life with preferences, but don't let your happiness depend on any one of them, then you're awake. You're moving toward wakefulness. Wakefulness, happiness, call it what you wish, is the state of non-delusion, where you see things not as you are, but as they are, insofar as this is possible for a human being. To drop illusions, to see things, to see reality. Every time you are unhappy, you have added something to reality. It is that addition that makes you unhappy. I repeat, you have added something, a negative reaction in you. Reality provides the stimulus, you provide the reaction. You have added something by your reaction. And if you examine what you have added, there is always an illusion there. There's a demand, an expectation, a craving. Always. Examples of illusions abound. But as you begin to move ahead on this path, you'll discover them for yourself. For instance, the illusion, the error of thinking that by changing the exterior world, you will change. You do not change. If you merely change your exterior world, if you get yourself a new job or new spouse or a new home or new guru, new spirituality, that does not change you. It's like imagining that you change your handwriting by changing your pen, or that you change your capacity to think by changing your hat. That doesn't change you, really. But most people spend all their energies trying to rearrange their exterior world to suit their tastes. Sometimes they succeed for about 5 minutes, and then they get a little respite, but they are tense even during that respite because life is always flowing. Life is always changing. So if you want to live, you must have no permanent abode. You must have no place to rest your head. You have to flow with it. As the great Confucius said, the one who would be constant in happiness must frequently change. Flow. But we keep looking back, don't we? We cling to things in the past and cling to things in the present. When you set your hand to the plow, you cannot look back. Do you want to enjoy a melody? Do you want to enjoy a symphony? Don't hold on to a few bars of the music. Don't hold on to a couple of notes. Let them pass. Let them flow. The whole enjoyment of a symphony lies in your readiness to allow notes to pass. Whereas if you have a particular bar took your fancy and you should shout it to the orchestra, keep playing it again and again and again. That wouldn't be a symphony anymore. Are you familiar with those tales of Nasruddin, the old mullah? He's a legendary figure whom the Greeks, Turks, and Persians all claim for themselves. He would give his mystical teachings in the form of stories, generally funny stories, and the butt of the story was always old Nasr Eddin himself. One day, Nasr Eddin was strumming a guitar, playing just a note. After a while, a crowd clutched around him. This was in a marketplace, and one of the men sitting on the ground there said, "That's a nice note you're playing, Mullah, but why don't you vary it up a bit like the other musicians do?" "Those fools," Nasruddin said. "They're searching for the right note. I've found it." And that concludes chapter 33, entitled Desire, Not Preference. I hope you guys enjoyed today's readings. If you're enjoying the book, I'm putting a link for it through Amazon in the description. If you order it there, it helps support the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you've enjoyed the readings and would like to share them with a friend, please do so. Please leave a comment and a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That'd be really wonderful. It really helps out a lot. If you have any other books that you're interested in hearing be read or would like to be shared, just let me know. Thank you guys so much and have a wonderful and beautiful day.